All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome back. We're going to do part 5 of this Jamstack Conf adventure. And here to take us through to the end is Ben, whose name is now showing up as Nathaniel's name. Oh, my God. I swear I fixed this bug, and it's absolutely
I would trade
not
for this
good.
name.
Dang it. Okay. All right. Well, it's not Nathaniel. I'm not kidding. I spent like an hour trying to fix this bug yesterday, and I was 100% sure that I fixed it. Cool. Everything's great. Nothing's broken.
This is a huge upgrade. Like when your last name is Vinegar, this is like a childhood dream, frankly.
That's and chat. If you were watching the previous one, you know Nathaniel. That's if you were going to be anybody when you grow up, be Nathaniel. All right, y'all. So here we go. Let's talk a little bit about. Well, first let's talk about you, especially because we got your name wrong. So Ben Vinegar, what should people know about you?
It's weird. Let's see. Well, I had a name for some period of time and then I changed it. Let's see. I don't know. I'm today I'm the one of the vice presidents of engineering at Sentry. I've been here for 6 years and I've done everything from build some of the initial UI to some of the initial client library instrumentation work, and then sort of went down the management track. And I work today with a team of 80 brilliant managers and software engineers building cool stuff, so that Sentry can help collect errors, tell you about your performance, just be like a really cool product. Before this, I've done a bunch of different things. I've done graphics driver development in my career, full stack development. But probably more notably, a lot of JavaScript stuff. I put out a book in 2013 called Third Party JavaScript, which was about, instrumenting, putting apps and widgets and things on other people's websites. It's pretty deprecated now. 8 years is a long time. And, we've probably gone through maybe 15 different framework cycles since then. So I don't know that I can endorse it, but, so that's kind of where I'm coming from. Sentry, JavaScript. Yeah.
I just did some math and just realized that the first book I wrote is now 12 years old, which somebody emailed me about it the other day. So they're still reading the book, which it's gone through like, people other than me have updated it because it's a book about PHP. I haven't written PHP in 6 years, 7 years, something like that. But I'm like, I can't believe that 2000. So far, it felt like yesterday, and yet
JavaScript, the old parts is what it should be called now. I don't know I don't actually know. Has anyone even attempted to revise that anytime recently?
Who knows? I don't know. Does anybody read like physical books anymore? I feel like everybody's doing online workshops and stuff like that these days. Even the book publishers are doing it online these days. So it's interesting. How many of you have chat? Let us know. How many of you have physical books, like physical programming books in your house? Can we get like a W in the chat if you've got physical programming books? And while we're waiting on the chat to weigh in on books being real or not, old ones, yeah. Okay, all right. Some people are coming in with books. All right, y'all. Let's talk a little bit about what Sentry does. So you've been on the show before. We've talked about Sentry. There is a Learn with Jason episode about Sentry, and today we're going to use it because we just built this app, and like we discovered a minute ago, wow, a lot of people have books in their house. I can't believe. I'm pleasantly surprised. I'm really glad that people are buying books. I love books. At some point I went all digital, and I that's maybe sad for that. So anyway, we're talking about Sentry, and with this app,
we can go deeper on the books. This is good stuff. So just let me know where you want to take this.
But yeah, so I think like we've got this app. We've been building this app all week, and it displays swag from Shopify. It hooks up to the Tito API and the Shopify API and the SendGrid API and Fauna DB and does all of this stuff, right? And we just we set up Algolia on the front end to make some calls to our serverless functions in the back, and there's a lot going on in this app. And we just discovered in the previous session that we actually broke part of it. Something that I did doesn't actually work the way that we thought it worked. And I don't know what that is or what happened or why it's wrong. So Sentry, theoretically, should help us identify and diagnose this issue. So I'm actually really excited that I accidentally made a mistake because, well, accidentally, I mean, we knew I was going to screw this up. But I'm excited that we're not having to like fake a bug here. We can kind of get in and see how this works under the hood. But let's talk a little bit about Sentry in the abstract. Like you said, you've been there for 6 years. You're clearly like deep in it. What is it about Sentry that makes it exciting as a tool?
I think that for a very long time, if you're a web developer, the experience of fixing bugs is you get an email from a customer or a tweet that says, "Hey, this thing is broken." You're like, "What?" And you go back and forth. You're like, "Hey, can you send me some screenshots?" Or, "Hey, there's a thing called the developer tools, right? Like, or the console. Can you open that up for me? I know you've never seen it before, but humor me, follow these instructions, copy paste this, send it an email, screenshot it, right?" And I think the purpose of Sentry is to sort of eliminate that kind of dialogue and just kind of bring it directly to you without having to go back and forth with users, right? So if you have a bug in production or something slow, a performance problem, it's, we're presenting you a dashboard that tells you, like, let's take the case of an error, right? Like, hey, 100 users experienced a crash on this page, and turns out it was 100% Firefox users. Why? Well, maybe perhaps because you were dependent on some Browserland API that maybe it was on the cutting edge, and it turns out that Firefox just sort of flipped a bit and it behaves a little bit differently in that browser. And because of the way that you wrote it, it's broken now. And those are a class of problems that are really hard when you're going one-on-one with users, right? Like,
For sure.
Browser were you using? Like at some point you gotta have more than one person tell you before you even think to explore browser incompatibilities or whatever, right? So it's kind of like, in some ways I view it as a developer productivity tool, because you're just spending, if Sentry is doing its job, you're spending way less time debugging because you have the information about what's wrong and even, pinpointing what to fix so that you can go back to building software, building products.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think and it really is like a huge impact when you don't have to do that back and forth. Like, thinking about how much time in my freelance career I wasted because I had a client and my client would send me an email in a panic that like the page is broken. And that was like the whole message. The page is broken. And so then I would have to say like, okay, but which page? Like, what are you looking at it on? And then you would get partial information, and then, they're panicked the whole time, right? So they're already stressed, and you're asking them like logic questions, right? Okay, what browser is it? Can you check the version? Click this button and like find the About Chrome button so that you can tell me what version you're actually using so that I can go try to reproduce this. And I must have burned days, and it made me way slower to fix bugs, and it frustrated my customers, and all that stuff was really stressful, right? And so this idea that a robot can take care of all of that for us and just send us an email and say, hey, this browser at this resolution broke with this error, and you can go reproduce it by doing this, or don't even reproduce it, just look at the log that came in and you can see exactly what went wrong. You don't have to reproduce, you can just go fix it and then check that your fix worked. That is I can feel the tension release just thinking about that as a solution.
Yeah, I mean, it's also like, it could be hours going in between, right? Those communications and add my antisocial tendencies. Like, I don't want to talk to people, Jason. I please relieve me of that burden, So, it's kind of like, I was just thinking about, customer service interactions, trying to fix things on the phone, or, I don't know. They don't even want to be talking to you is how I think about it,
Right.
So even that's a negative experience for customers. Like, already I hit this bug, and now now I got to go back and forth with you.
Yeah.
Like I got things to do. I got bills to pay. I got my kids to look after. So in some ways, not only is it helpful for you as a user, I think it's just a better experience for customers and users of software to just, in the early days of Sentry, for example, like we would proactively, if we fixed a bug, we would message people who we knew had experienced them and be like, hey, we think that maybe you experienced this and just want to let you know we had a patch. We're open source. So we would even like maybe link to the PR. It's taken care of. You don't have to deal with this again. And I know that was like a great experience for users who were just like, wow, I didn't even have to tell you. And this was bothering me. Thank you. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So another way to look at it.
Yeah. Well, cool. So I'm pumped to just kind of jump in and look at it. So let's switch over so that we can see the screen here. So this is the Sentry website. You can see it here. Go check it out for yourself. Also keep in mind that we are talking to Ben Vinegar. So you can go follow on Twitter for all sorts of insights. Let's see what the most recent insight is.
No.
A boot camp. All right. So yeah, good stuff here. Lots of good just like straight up put you on the spot.
I'm just like an angry man on his porch shaking his fist at random topics. There's nothing here for anybody.
This is not a place of honor. Is that the? Let's see. We need to get the deploy preview, which is open in a different. This one. I've got it open here. So let's get this deploy preview. I'm going to open it up here. Trying to keep my reference links separate so that I don't lose anything. So this is what we built, right? This is our app running. It's got all the things that we want. We've got the ability to add things to cart. And so that's all working. I've got my z-index error here, which is looking great. But we can add different things to the cart, and it does all the things we want. We get here, we can check out on Shopify, and that all works. So this is all good. It appears to be fine. And I can see I've got some lag here that my computer is chugging so hard today. But so this is the basics of our app, and we want to configure this thing to be running on Sentry so that we get some insight into what's going on. So the code that we've been writing thus far is in the Jamstack Conf repo in this pull request here. Fix this filter to work for Slap. Look at that, Brian Robinson just watching the thing. I love it. I'm just gonna go ahead and just confirm that so that gets fixed. Let's do that. So what we're actually working on here is this branch here. And then this branch is now rebuilding so that the command works. Let me drop this here. And now we've got, if you want to go see the code, it's all here, but we're going to be working against this locally. So we've got the code in here where we're working, and I want to add Sentry. So if I want to do that, where should I start?
I think the easiest way is to just kind of, if you don't already have an account, sign up on the website and follow the instructions.
Okay, so I'm pretty sure I do have an account. So let's see if it'll just let me in. We're going to associate this. Yep, that's good. I'm glad that just worked. You know what I don't like? I don't like it when I go to an app and I signed in with Google and then I sign in with GitHub and it's like, you don't have an account. Or it creates a duplicate account. Oh, I hate that so much.
I agree with this pain. I have to remember the unique way I signed into this. I don't remember, man. I think I've been logging into Spotify with Facebook for the last 7 years, and I have to remember that, but nothing else. Anyways, so I agree.
Nice. Okay, so it looks like, and I've got this running on Learn with Jason, right? And I've got 2 errors that I need to go deal with. So I'll go look at those soon. But, for now, I need to create a project, right?
Makes sense to me.
All right, I'm going to create a project. And we're going to call this project computer. Don't you dare. Now is not the time. If it beach balls, I swear. Hey, stop it.
Oh, no, is the animated spinner causing grief?
I was like, no, it's not yours. This is my computer.
You're not running an M1 Max, Jason?
Dude, this computer, hold on. Let me just show how old this computer is. This is a 2017 15-inch, and it's still running Catalina. Like I do not update this machine.
I still feel our animated spinner should not be beach balling, you know, a 4-year-old machine. So
I mean, that is absolutely not the only thing that's happening on this computer right now. Okay, so I've got a JavaScript project. We're gonna name it Jamstack.
well, is it just generically JavaScript, or what is
It's
there a
using
framework?
Astro, so there's like React-ish bits. Should I do React if it's
I would choose React, I think.
Okay, all right, let's do React instead. So
get
we'll
more
probably,
sort of more focused onboarding around the React experience.
okay. This this is nicely done. So we've got the Sentry stuff, we've got the tracing library, so I can install all of that. Not now. Drop this in here. And then we got all sorts of good things happening. So we've got, do we just like throw this right at the root of everything?
Yeah, so I mean, the kind of like, you know, the earlier in the sort of like application bootstrapping life cycle, you can get Sentry involved. You know, you want to do it early so that if an error, for example, happens subsequently, it's going to get captured, right? The lower you put it down, the less opportunity it has to kind of collect things in that bootstrap phase. So
Gotcha. Okay.
You know,
Welcome, Rocket DevRel. Thank you for the raid. And I'm making some assumptions here about how Astro is going to handle this. So it should just run arbitrary code here. So as far as I know, this should just work. And
I've never tried this. I don't know that we tried this with Astro. So
yeah,
this
so
could be the maiden voyage.
We might be about to learn something here. So let's find out what happens. It should, theoretically, this really should just work because it just executes some arbitrary JavaScript. But I'm actually wondering if I might need to inject this as like plain script at the bottom. But let's run it and find out. Because I think this might execute at build time, not at runtime, which is not what we want. So let's see. It's packaging. Everything's okay. So it's ESM Oh, we got close. What happened? Cannot redefine property init. That's probably because I bet this is happening because we're not calling it in the right place. So let me. How is this going to work? You know how this is going to work? I'm going to put this into. Is there a way to just do it with like?
That's a build time call. Yep. It says be Holmes dev.
Yeah. So if I want to throw it in here, right? Now this is probably not going to work.
So what we can do instead, because we could go back and look at the sort of generic JavaScript instrumentation, which will, instrument the on error event globally. Otherwise, you kind of have to figure out where dynamically is the mount point of where the React application gets inserted. And I
have a theory. Like, failed to resolve module specifier must. Okay, so did it? Okay, we're gonna run into some issues here just because what we are trying. Do you have a CDN version of these libraries? Like I can probably unpackage these, right?
Yes. So, is that here in these instructions? Like we do have, probably not for React. That's what I'm saying. Like maybe go back, let's maybe drop the React specific parts of this for simplicity. And that's mostly just because I don't know Astro very well. If you go to JavaScript. Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to not say that. Yeah, so you can do this.
All good. So we've got performance bundle. So this is okay. So here's the regular one. Okay, so we're gonna put this down here, and then here's the performance bundle, the tracing. And so we put that down here.
I think let's just read that because performance model, is it a separate one or is it
You
a
only
giant?
need to load, which provides both error and performance monitoring. Okay, so
wow, what a handy little note there.
All right, so we're only doing tracing then.
Yeah.
And then it's going to be sentry.init. And so I think nothing else changes. Like this should just work if I drop out these parts.
Yeah, let's check that.
New Sentry integrations instead.
Yeah, because it puts everything on a Sentry global namespace, given that we're not in module world.
Right. So that... Okay, so this should work then. So we've got response with 200. Okay, that's right. That's right. Let's get in here. Oh, wait, this is not localhost. Let's get localhost up. Look here. No errors. Get to the network. Let's look for Sentry. And here it comes in. Everything's working. Okay, so theoretically speaking, then this is loaded now. Theoretically speaking. So if we then go back here, we can look and just try.
Yeah, if we go to issues, so now here, let's get rid of this.
Waiting for events. Create a sample event.
Yeah, so creating a sample event is really like, hey, you know what? I don't even want to instrument anything. Just give me an idea of what this looks like.
Oh, I got you. So we need to like create an error then.
Yeah, that's right.
All right. So let's... To start, we can just like throw a new error, right?
Yes.
Will that do what we want?
If you do it in a set timeout, you can. Like, and that's just because of what Chrome does. Like, it kind of suppresses.
Mm-hmm.
It'll suppress an error thrown from the console, but if you use set timeout, it will sort of like
it breaks out of that thread.
Yeah, it breaks out into sort of like the global scope. Shh! Don't tell people this.
All right, so this is a test error, so that gets thrown, and theoretically speaking, then we should be. I'm gonna close here. Let's go back to issues. For review. Here it is.
Oh, someone just popped up there. We're really, make it stop already. See, they really nailed the language there.
That's good. But so here we go. We here's our test error. So that came in, and we can look at it. We can see, here's my browser version. Here's my Mac OS version. All sorts of really useful, and like these are the things we're going to ask somebody, right? What browser do you use? What is it? The latest version of the browser? All that kind of stuff. And then I can also see, hey, they were on the deploy preview URL, not the real URL, so they aren't actually looking at production. We need to make sure they're looking at production. Really powerful stuff here. So, I mean, that's kind of the whole thing, right?
Stack trace is a huge one, and because this is basically like not a real error, it doesn't, there is no real stack trace. We kind of flushed it to the, global window object. So, I think it becomes more powerful at a point where you can actually like trace the stack trace. Like here was the call frame, right, where this happened. Yeah,
let's break it. So I'm gonna go into something that is, let's do this one, and this shows us a bunch of buttons. So this is just the React that shows our buttons. And so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add a new button, and on click, this button is just gonna wreak havoc. And so when you click this button, it's going to throw a new error, and see, now it's beach balling again. Computer, just come on. We just got to get through this week, and then we can both rest.
Feeling better about the spinner now. Probably even better than throwing a new error is just like, I guess this is always the challenge, right? Where, trying to call I can call a function on a property or something.
Right. So I can just call an undefined function. That is 100% going to fail. And then I get to use this copy here. So this will break. And if I go out here and I look, we can see what we've changed. we're not actually using these, so I can roll that back. And that means I can roll back package.json. So we have installed the script and initialized it, and then we've set up something that's definitely broken. This is not a function that we're going to use. So let's ship it to production. All right, then I can click this sync changes button because this get stuff is cool. And then we'll go over here to the Netlify CLI, and I'm just going to run like a...
I feel like this is real software development. We're just skipping a lot of redundant steps and going straight to the breaking.
What's going on here? This is... Oh, I'm down here. All right, so let's run a Netlify open, and then we'll just wait for it to open up in this browser here. Poor little computer. Okay, so here is our site. It's building. Here's the thing that we shipped that was broken. It's building. I hope it doesn't have any checks. Like, you know how some frameworks are really helpful and they'll like run automated checks for you? Mm-hmm. They're like, you tried to call an undefined thing. Did you really mean to do that?
I was wondering. Yeah, I was wondering if that was going to happen or not.
Oh, I got to start it again. Or actually, hold on. I don't need to start it again because we're trying to use the broken one, which is over here. So let's run this. And here it is. Open it. And now we've got this button to unleash chaos. And so what we should see when I click this button is an error. And we do. Undefined function is not defined. All right. So if we go back here and I go to issues.
Yep.
We're already getting, like, we can already see we're getting other errors too because I removed those imports and stuff. But now I have failed to dynamically fetch. Has no method.
Let's try refreshing. It might take something like 5-10 seconds. So
here we go. Undefined function is not defined. Good. So that did what we want. So we've got all these details here. And then this is the stack trace, link to your stack trace.
Yeah, I think so. Typically, Sentry supports source maps, and usually when you go through like a full, I'll scroll up a little bit because some of that looks pretty clean. Like, that's cart.js. It's not a big minified file. So I'm not familiar enough with like that looks minified, but the sort of like source file seems unminified, right? So I can't tell, scroll up to the top, if there's a source map transformation error or not. Okay, so I guess this is interesting. So Sentry will sort of consume source maps automatically and convert minified source code into something readable. And if it can't, it will pop up a warning that kind of says like, hey, we couldn't find a source map or whatever. So in this case, it seems like a source map was actually consumed because I do see some transformation on that like object on click. Like, if that was truly minified, you wouldn't see, it'd be like, app.min.js and, the function name would be like undefined function B, right? So there is some sort of unminification taking place, but I guess because of the way that Astro kind of like rolls up the source code, it's not actually showing the original source code.
I am actually not even sure how Astro source maps work. I haven't tried to set them up yet. So there's a decent chance that there's just a setting I need to turn on.
Yeah, I suspect like it's still keeping, for example, not everyone wants to supply their source code, to the world, right? If you don't want to do that, you can push them in a separate process using like our command line tool, right? So you don't put them on the internet. You can just sort of push them to us, keep them private.
Okay.
Right. But it looks like they do produce at least kind of like some sort of like so source maps have kind of like different levels of support.
Yeah, let's poke at this and see what we get actually. So what comes out, not here, it goes out in, let me actually just build this thing locally and let's find out what happens.
Yeah. So what we're trying to do is to, like, obviously it's got these sort of call frames. What we're trying to do with that source code is like to put those call frames in context if we can, right? So we will attempt to show you your original source code so you can be like, oh, it was this line of code exactly. And those are additional capabilities that kind of make the experience a little nicer.
Mm-hmm. So it looks like it minifies, but it does ship as modules. So it looks like we were just getting the actual minified file. I don't see a map. How are we doing on time? We can look at this. Astro source map.
Yeah, it could just be in their config somewhere.
This is, let's see, Astro build.
I like developer docs haven't overtaken Google on space topics yet.
Oh, Lilcom Pooper, you can do it. Okay. Source maps. Do we have any source maps? Source. Ooh, I don't think we get source maps yet. Or I'm looking in the wrong place, but configuration.
Maybe deploy to the web, possibly. Yeah. Oh, it's a good possibility here.
Source map. It looks like we don't get them now. That's okay.
We'll look into it another time. I'm not familiar enough with it. It's I'm under the impression Astro is some bleeding edge stuff. What do you think, by the way?
I've loved it so far. I built an app in it in Next, and I was realizing that like there was only a couple things that were actually React on it. Most of it was static content, right? And I looked at the page size, and it was over 200 kilobytes for what was effectively an informational page. And so I was like, okay, what's up with this islands architecture? What, Astro and Svelte and the way they're talking about compile away the JavaScript. So I gave it a shot, and it changed to like 15 or 20 kilobytes of JavaScript because I used the Preact renderer, because it was like, you can use React or Preact. Which one would you like? I was like, will it work with Preact? Sure enough, it did. And it dropped. Yeah. So it was like over huge reduction in the size of the app, and all the interactivity still worked because just those one little React components hydrated with Preact. So I've been super impressed with it. I'm a huge fan of just the general. I like this direction. It feels like this is the new generation of building for the web, is kind of using JavaScript to build. It's really, really powerful for building. The developer experience is wonderful, but not actually shipping it when you don't need it very much feels like the right way forward.
It's a pretty good sales pitch.
Ben Holmes is saying, welcome to Tiny Bundle Island. I am feeling very good on Tiny Bundle Island.
Some Astro swag being packed up and sent to Jason's house now.
Oh, speaking of which, hold on. Huh?
Oh yeah.
Yep. All right, here we go. We're going Sentry hat for the rest of the show, if I can get it on straight. There we go. It's really hard.
Premium swag icon. We usually kept those, like when we went to conferences in the before times, we'd keep those, under the booth. Okay. So this is the pro tip. Always push people a little more on the swag.
Oh yeah. They got the secret stuff under the table.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, I see you got a t-shirt there, but tell me about the hoodies you got stashed under the table.
It can't hurt to ask. Worst case, told no. No big deal.
Right. Yeah. So now if you see Sentry at a conference, you ask for the hat. They got them hidden under the table. Your team's going to be so stoked that you just let that out of the bag.
I bet that is like broad advice for everybody, like, go after Google or Firebase. I'm sure they've got something fancy.
They got some good stuff in there somewhere.
Yeah. Netlify, I'm sure some good stuff there.
We got a couple good ones. Yeah. Commit to open source, see what happens. But yeah, so if we don't have a source map, I clicked this seeing if that was the source map thing. It wasn't, but it looked pretty interesting. Will it just let me do the thing?
No. So it's kind of like once you get your source maps rolling, okay. I mean, this might actually work because it does have the file name. So I'm unsure about that, but it really is sort of like facilitates you going back and forth between GitHub and maybe in the future VS Code. So like,
Hmm.
you're here, you see the stack trace, you see the line of code, you can click it, go right to GitHub, see the commit. It brings in that type of stuff. Um, it's effort because you got to go, you got to
Oh, you got to
create,
like do a thing.
you got to connect to GitHub, you got to like map your repositories. I would not encourage this. This is the type of thing that
Oh,
you're
it's a
gonna need
lot.
30 minutes. Yeah.
Gotcha.
But it's something you can set up, for a project for the duration
Mm,
of that project, not for like a single error or whatever.
gotcha.
And one thing I'd highlight, if you don't mind hitting the back button a little bit, and going back to that issue.
Where was I? Here.
Yeah. So if you scroll down and go to the stack trace, like hit that raw button on the right, top right. Yeah. So this is really just taking, what you would have, right? That's the raw text that you would have gotten in the browser developer console. And that sort of like view that we showed is again, this sort of like, I just trying to elevate this a little bit, right? By bringing in surrounding source code, because this is a different experience, just seeing a bunch of, stack trace here.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Already at the very least, even with the minified code, you can kind of see a little bit of what it's going for, right? There is the unclick undefined function.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, this, would it be great if this was showing me source code? 100%. And, I'll go back and figure out how to do that because I want it to do that. And I think we did set that up. Actually, why don't we look at Learn with Jason? Because we did get it set up with Learn with Jason. So if we go into issues here and we find, I'm sure I have one that's, is there one that's just like,
we're going back in time. What were we doing? I think that we also invited people to basically like click all over the place. So,
oh, that's true. We did some really weird stuff in here. Let's go to, can I find my old stuff? Or like let's just see what this shows us. Does it hook up to code?
I do remember we had that working.
Yeah, and it goes like fetch here, and then if I
scroll back, I think go to the last page.
The last page?
Oh, sorry, the issue list on Learn with Jason. Yeah, I felt like at the bottom. I'm really curious about these. Oh, like cannot read property of undefined is a good one. Yeah.
Yeah, here we go. So look, it's saying, it can't, undefined is not an object.
Dude, I don't remember what we were doing.
I don't remember what we were doing either.
Yeah.
Where was undefined is not a, was there one of those?
I don't know. We've also got like, so go back, go to resolve. So Sentry, you can kind of think of it also as kind of like a list of, is resolved. I don't actually go to save searches, that drop down. And you can just drop the is unresolved, or you can look at, let's just drop.
Just get it out of there.
Yeah. So we'll auto resolve errors over time, right? So I don't know if that was a factor. Maybe not.
Can we go
bail out of this whole thing? Let's go out of this whole.
Get it out of here.
Yeah.
Hold on. I could have sworn I had some that were resolved. Whatever. It doesn't matter. We're gonna go back over here.
Yeah, we're bailing out of this entirely. Yeah.
But we've got we've got some issues, and we can see things happening here, like, as they're happening. And when you see them happen, you can at least see, like, were we expecting this to work? And the answer is 100%. Preact, that should be working. There's no reason that shouldn't be working. So we should figure out why that didn't work.
There's basically just a whole universe of stuff that's happening to your app, right? And did you know that you had a whole bunch of module failures firing off all the time? Maybe you didn't, right? Or didn't notice it. And so it really just speaks to, in web development world, there's a million people clicking on things, causing grief, and are you even aware that it's happening? So this is breadcrumb trail, right? Which is, again, it's like, Sentry's trying to be this suite of things to not just tell you that a crash occurred, but give you some blocks to try to recreate it, right? in some ways, breadcrumbs are kind of like going back to the user and saying, so tell me what you were doing before you encountered this.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so in this case, we're trying to do, without being invasive, we're trying to like, clearly this sort of session or user experience, like they fired up this transaction, which we could click into that. And then they clicked around and eventually they caused the exception, right? And so you can look at the button that it caused.
Time travel for queries.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, this is powerful stuff, because the other thing that this is useful for is it shows that when you click a button, it doesn't just hit that button. It like this bubbles through the whole thing, right? So I clicked on the cart, and then that called the drawer to open, and then we clicked on the button, and like it did all this stuff that is really this is important to keep track of, because we can see how somebody got to where they were.
We're glossing over this because we inserted the error, right? So we know exactly what the parameters were. But if you had no idea at all, and you're putting on your detective hat and you're trying to figure out what even happened, this stuff is pretty crucial.
Well, and like, look at this. We could go. I can copy this. Like, here's how good the debugging on this experience is going to be. I'm gonna take this. I'm gonna go back out to my app here, and I'm going to do document query selector, and I'm going to drop in this query selector, and then I'm going to do, is it style? And I want to make that border 1 pick solid red. I always get this wrong. Look at that. It just like finds buttons. So that's a button that we clicked to make this thing work, right? Like that is so dang powerful that sort of thing works, where we can start to find where somebody is on the app just by like, hey, that's where they were when this thing happened. Let's go make that happen. It's just really, really, really good stuff. Like,
we should probably do more browser extension stuff where somehow we can fuel this data into that. That'd be pretty cool.
Ooh, that would be really cool. And so the other thing that we did, I put in tracing. So is this performance tab what that tracing library does?
Yeah, let's click that. I think, your account. Yeah, that should work. It's interesting that other link brought you somewhere else that required a trial, because this is not like you should be able to use this on a free plan. So Sentry team, if you're watching this, let's go explore that. But yeah, so this is sort of like, this is the performance monitoring side. And this is like a new offering for Sentry. We introduced it a year ago. Application performance monitoring tools, APM tools have been around for a while. This is an experience where we're trying to bring that type of solution to front-end development. And to be clear, like Sentry is a full stack product. It works with Python or Java, or anything really, .NET, Java, etc. But we do care a lot about the front-end experience, because we kind of look at that as the gateway point to software, right?
Yeah. So chat, if you'll do me a favor, just go and open the site. And that'll give us some input so that we can see some of the transactions here, because I think right now we've just got the one or three users, and we're getting some averages. So this is very, very useful information. Everybody clicking that button, load that site. Let's see, there's a very specific question here from Play PUBG. It's possible to get private key range hint using pub key base 58 I honestly understood about 50% of that sentence. Do you know what that means?
I am not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure. I have to elaborate.
And so we can see here, look, now we've got 6 more people coming in, and we can see that, like, our largest contentful paint, we have somebody who took a second for first contentful paint, 600 milliseconds. And this is also this is a fast website. This is one of the reasons I really like Astro, is it really is just like zippy. I
think that's average, right? So those are some.
So if I jump in here, I should see even.
We've got a bunch of different views. Yeah, like this is kind of, we kind of group things under transactions, and you can think of transactions as being like the request response cycle, or like the full page load of a page. And, so we group by URLs. In this case, it's slash. So it is showing some, one, you can see the individual experiences, it's graphing them. So we could, for example, scroll down and look at what like a full waterfall diagram looks like for one of these experiences, like maybe one of those slower ones, like 2.71 seconds. It also gives you an idea of like, what is the breakdown of right. So super helpful if you're trying to build fast websites for sure.
Yeah.
What are they blocked on?
And like, are things loading in parallel, or is like each of these things blocking the next thing? And just so much stuff that we can do to try to make these sites faster, right? It's really, really powerful stuff that we can do in here.
And a lot of the same sort of UI things come in here, right? Like breadcrumbs are still part of this, right? Especially because, I mean, if you're just loading a page, it's probably not what the user did. But if you click to URL, load another page, try to capture that as well.
This particular site doesn't have any extra pages, but but yeah, God, this is so cool. So we get like
and also
again.
Check out that Web Vitals tab. We've built a bunch of experience. We've kind of gone deep on Vitals. Like, we're pretty aligned on this. We're trying to, the industry is kind of standardizing on this terminology, which is great. Gives us something that we can all talk about, right? And so we create a bunch of experiences to help you visualize how you're doing on Vitals.
And you know what I love about this, and this is something that I think is really important when you start talking about performance, is performance in a lab is fine. Like, you should use it as a baseline to get a picture of something, like run your Lighthouse score and run the speed test and stuff like that. But where you really start to see it is like, these are reports from real people actually using this website, right? And that is way more valuable than any kind of lab testing or simulation that you can run on how performant your website is, because we might think that everybody who's using our website is in metropolitan areas on fiber internet, and so it doesn't matter. Like, when we run the simulation on fiber, it's everybody gets it in like a couple seconds. We don't care. But then we find out that in actuality, most of our users are in rural areas, or they're coming from like India or Africa, where the internet's not as fast, and it's taking them like 30 seconds to load the page. And it's like, oh crap, we should optimize different things in the way we're building the site to deliver a better experience to the real people. I think this would qualify as RUM, right? Real user. Is that, wait, hold on. Real user measurements. Is that what that's short for?
Real user monitoring. Yeah. I mean, that's like, I don't know. That's marketing speak. I mean, I guess, I guess it's real user. I mean, it's real users. Yeah. So we can go with that. Synthetic real user, like, they can work. They're complementary. They, you want to have a good idea ahead of time. You want to have a good idea after it goes live. Right. I think they both have a place. So, but this is real results. And, you may not have expected, like, you're building this Astro site. Clearly you're talking about, like, look, I'm using Preact, I'm using Astro, I'm using all these like cutting edge means to build fast websites. And for some people, it's still 2 seconds. It's like humbling.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely one of those things. It's like, who, and we don't know where this person came from. I'm assuming we can dig in and find this, right?
Yeah. Yeah, we can.
So, we can see, like, was this coming from, this is not what we want. That's 900 milliseconds to first byte. Where in the world did this happen? Is that a thing that just like shows up down here somewhere?
Well, first byte, I mean, I think that's like first transferred byte, right? So I think if I'm looking at that, I just assume that's like it's network, network connectivity.
Yeah, like network really latency or something. Oh yeah, because look, it took a while for for everything to come through.
Exactly.
And yeah, so that's that's a bummer. It took like a second for the first byte to come back. Is that common? I sure hope not, right? So we kind of have to look at these and get a sense of like, how often is it usually happening? And it looks like time to first byte's not one of the ones that shows up here.
Does Netlify, does Netlify build previews? You know, do those previews get built to the CDN edge, like
Mhm.
every neighborhood in the same way that a non-preview would?
Yeah. Yeah, they do. And so, it will always get those outliers, those one-offs that it's like, whew, that just didn't work the way we wanted it to. But the thing that I'm happy about looking at this is that the vast majority of these we're getting things in under a second, right? So the most of these calls are hitting where we want. And even the ones like we're looking for under 3 seconds is my goal, is when I want everybody to have all the content. And mostly it's happening, first input delay. Wow, that's nice. That's 2 milliseconds. Like nobody's going to notice that. No cumulative layout shift, or at least as far as I can tell. People aren't waiting very long for content to come in. It's like, a second you start to see content on the page. This makes me feel pretty good about the performance of this website. We're averaging about a second. And when we start looking at the big ones, oh boy, somebody got hit hard. 4 seconds. So yeah, we do have some slow ones. Like these are definitely not ideal. And I want to look into what's causing those and everything that's happening. Right. But again, like in the grand scheme of things, 4 seconds is fairly fast. Like I'm curious how long this would take on other, on like a larger bundle size or,
that's intentionally bubbling up. You can see it's ordered by duration, right? So it's showing you like here are kind of the most miserable things. Yeah. So
exactly. Like we're intentionally looking for our slowest transactions. So if we go for fastest transactions, holy crap. Yeah. It just feels good when something goes that fast, right? But the thing we should be looking for is like, where is it getting slow? And this is the 95th percentile of slowness. So it's definitely like, these are the people having the worst time on your app. And we can get a sense of like, are we okay if 5% of people are seeing this load time? I mean, ideally not, right? But we're never going to get it right for everybody. So can we make sure that this 95th percentile is a few seconds and not 45 seconds or a minute?
And I mean, and maybe just the conclusion is it's just like things beyond our control, right? Devices, network, etc. Anyways, Dragon's got a good point here. Dragon Skies, what are we working on? What are we building? Should we be shipping this?
We probably should be shipping this. Yeah. So we've got the site shipped here, and assuming this worked, I think what'll happen here is now we should get, it actually works now. So we'll get a console log with our code. So if you go to this website here, you can, if you registered at Jamstack Conf, you can get this slap bracelet for free. And let me just move this to the side so it's easier to see what's going on. So here's the slap bracelet. You can get this thing for free if you go here and type in your email that you registered for the conf with. So this is the one that I registered with. So I can run this. And after running it, it's going to give me back my coupon code. This is the coupon code. You can use that to get a slap bracelet. So claim one for free, and that's going to take you to the checkout page, and you can get one. You can also, if you would like, get one of these Jamstack Conf swag packs. These are priced at $40, but I have a special discount code for y'all so that you can get them for 25% off. So $30 for a ton of gear. We've got gear from Netlify, Algolia, Contentful, Sentry, Commerce Layer, and Twilio all coming in. There's bath bombs, there's t-shirts, there's stickers, there's pop sockets. All sorts of good stuff is happening. And you can get that with this Jam Conf pack coupon code that I'll drop in the chat right now. So if you want to get one of these, pick your t-shirt size and go grab one. And it'll be $30 instead of 40 because this will give you 25% off.
Are we going? Is this under the conference booth counter here? Is this what's under the counter?
It's kind of under the conference booth counter. Yeah, this is a pack that I don't know that we've really shared this with anyone outside of this stream. So you're getting first dibs. Everyone, get in there and get those. And really, this is shipped, right? If we look at the source code, we have let me just drop on down to the script down here. Here's Sentry. Here's our initialization call. Like we got it. We did it. This is a shipped app. which actually means I think we can merge this PR. I think we can actually merge this PR. Are we done? Yeah, we're all pushed here. Okay, I'm taking it live. So we can go into our app here. And when we did a lot, right? So where we started, and we can review this a little bit too to see kind of where things were and where we got to. So when we first got back on this PR1, I can, let's see, deploy preview 1, right? So I guess we'll just go only deploy previews. All right, so our first iteration of this was before the conference when I was trying to get everything done. I had the site built, or no, that one's actually more ready than it should be. Oh, that's not the permalink. That's why I need to open the permalink, which is here, this permalink button that I was looking for. So when we first started, we had all this stuff working. None of these buttons worked, or I guess that one did, but this didn't do anything. This, you could choose something and click and it wouldn't do anything. Right. So we just kind of started with like the basic markup, and that was where we were. And over time, we were able to get the, where's the rest of my, I guess it just kept doing that. So let's go to the pull request here, and we can see that we started with the homepage and markup styles, and then we got all the basic skeleton there. We got the functional shopping cart in with Kelly Vaughn. We got the swag claim function in with Rob Sutter from Fauna. We got an Omnibox using Algolia autocomplete with Brian Robinson, and then he shipped a hotfix just a minute ago so that it works all the way. We added SendGrid today with Nathaniel Okenwa from Twilio, and we just added the Sentry stuff so that we've got error tracking. So let's fix that error that we created, and let's take this thing live. So we'll just do it from here. I'm gonna say git commit everything, and we'll say fix remove undefined function, and I'm going to push that, and we'll see that go up live here. So here's our undefined function. It's going to rebuild, and I'm going to be able to find that over here. If I go back to my deploys, got to clear my filter there. So here it is, it's building. As soon as this builds, we can verify that it does what we want. It should take just a few seconds because I think Astro's building it's using ESM, which makes it nice and fast. I think they're switching to Vite too, so it should get even faster over time, which is very exciting. And see, we got 1 minute on the clock. Here we go. There's the preview. Let's go to our deploy preview. It's all working. No more broken button. All right, we're taking it live. Here we go, everybody. We're going to merge this PR. And it's no longer a work in progress. Off we go. Delete this branch. That thing's going to ship, and you will be able to now see the site at its... Did I actually ship it here? Yeah, swag.jamstackconf.com. There was a whole joke. I'm so sad that we didn't get to do this whole joke about like having the swag site not ready, and then we were going to build it live during the show and all that kind of stuff. But doesn't matter. We're going to do it anyways. We're shipping it live. Ben, while we're waiting for this to build, is there anything that people should do if they want to go deeper and learn more?
Oh, with Sentry?
Yeah. I mean, with that, whatever. You want to read a book? Whatever. You recommend anything you want.
I like, this is the part of the podcast where everyone's like, what are you reading? What do you want to shout out? I don't know if that applies for live streams too, but
always does. Anything you want to teach it.
Yeah, I got you could see me live in downtown Toronto. I'm appearing in a show. It is a modern interpretation of Hamlet, but in space using sand spice.
I'm not 100% sure if you're being serious or not, and I really hope you are.
I'm not, but I do like the idea when people. Maybe I just listen to a lot of podcasts with like actors and stuff, and they're always kind of finishing with, oh well, check out this thing I'm in. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, check out Sentry. It's It's got a free developer plan. I think it's great for side projects. This is kind of like in some ways the joke of this session, which is like, hey, we're building with Sentry, but it's basically kind of a copy this snippet into your website and you'll get some value out of it pretty fast.
I feel like that's the glory of this though, is that, you know, we just got all those insights for literally no effort, right? Like we copy pasted a thing and now we can see how fast it is, not in our testing in simulations, but for real users. And we get error messages reported to us from real users, real browsers with the metadata and the stack traces that we need so we can go hunt them down and fix them before somebody opens a ticket. So Ben, this was incredible. Yeah, Brian, I did see your PR. Thank you so much. It's all working. We are now shipped and live at swag.jamstack.com. So you can go here, you can claim your slap bracelet. So make sure you run slap and the email address that you registered for Jamstack Conf with, and then add that to your cart. And then we also have, you'll have to do these as 2 separate transactions, I think. You can get the Jamstack Conf swag pack for 20% off using the discount code JAMCONFPACK. Let me drop that in the chat one more time. So just head on over to swag.jamstackconf.com, grab your gear. There's lots of good stuff here. Get it for $30. That's a lot of gear for $30. And you can get that free slap bracelet if you were a registered Jamstack Conf attendee. Ben, thank you so much for hanging out today and for giving us a tour of Sentry, helping us get it set up. Chat, thank you for a marathon view. This is the 5th of 5 parts of building this. So if you want to see, if you didn't catch all of them, you want to catch up on how we got here, all of these are going to be posted on learnwithjason.dev and the YouTube channel. So make sure you go and check that. Ben, any parting words?
Jason, always a pleasure. Really happy to be here. And hey, looks great.
All right, y'all.
Check it out.
If you want to catch more, we are still going this week. We've got tomorrow, we're going to do color contrast and accessibility with Todd Libby. That's going to be a blast. We've got Aisha Blake. We're going to do observability on the Jamstack using New Relic. So make sure you check in for those. And that's just this week. Make sure you head out and just add this show to your calendar on Google Calendar so that you can follow along, and do a follow on Twitch as well. With that, we're going to go find somebody to raid. So thank you all so much for hanging out this week. We will see you again tomorrow.